This could possibly be a weekend where you just want to stay in bed, pull the covers over your head, maybe on occasion come out with a journal and a pen and just write down some reflections on adjustments in life that you are really being called to make. I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This could be a really tough weekend. It's Saturn retrograde. It's karma. Retrograde means we're really being called to go inward. So this aspect of self will be illuminated, the aspect of life lessons. It's life lessons. It's like, well, if you want something, you're going to have to work for it. It's not like the Jupiter grace bomb, just like the gifts falling out of the sky. It's the hard work to earn something. It's the self-mastery. It's the karmic lessons needed to basically turn you from like grapes, crush you into fine wine. I mean, that's Saturn. That's really Saturn. There's some really good stuff, though, about the Saturn journey. I really see the benefits that people get when they do work with their Saturn. So I want to talk about how you can work with your Saturn, right? Like, he's going to go retrograde Saturday, and he will be retrograde until November, like middle of November. Not sure the exact date. You can always Google that if you want. But in his retrograde time, it is a foundation rebuilding time. This is interesting because Saturn's in Pisces. So Pisces is the unseen. Pisces is on the other side of the veil. Feel into that. For those of us on a spiritual path, this can be really interesting. The restructuring of the unseen. New foundations being built, some crumbling in our spiritual belief systems. In what we feel is on the other side of the veil, right? That is not in the seen realms. But here's the amazing thing about this, is that Saturn's all about the seen. He is reality. He is the 3D world. Isn't this wild? So just feel into what this could be for you. This is the exciting, amazing, beautiful aspect of this, is that it's really pointing to self-mastery. That's Saturn, self-mastery. And karma, it's your karma dharma, like what it is that your soul path is, your destined path in this life. And it's really about, and now the karmic lessons around the seen and the unseen. And now the up-leveling of your belief systems, your foundations around how you bring something from the unseen, a thought, an idea, an inspiration, into the seen. You create it, you make it manifest, you ground it into the world, you express it in the 3D, right? So like, I have an idea for this conversation, right? And now I bring it in via this phone, via sitting here, via organizing my thoughts, kind of, or just sort of letting it flow, which is usually what I do. And then the steps that I have to take to edit, which I really don't do a whole lot of editing ever, as you can probably tell usually. And then the uploading, and then, right? That's Saturn. But how are you going to be called to rearrange, reframe, reassess, rebuild, all the words, rejuvenate, renew, revitalize your spiritual world, your unseen world, anything to do with Pisces, your boundaries. This is going to be really big for some of us. We're also in the relationship axis for North and South nodes this year. And so you want to think about boundaries in relationship, boundaries between self and other. Like, what's the shift that's happening in who you think you are? I know for me, I am realizing how incredibly influenced I am by absolutely everything. How much this whole world moves me, how much the wind blows and it affects me. I'm just becoming more conscious of it. It's not that's changing in me. It's that I'm actually becoming really, 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 really aware. I'm really becoming aware of someone's thought and how that influences me. I'm becoming aware of someone's state of consciousness and how that influences the words that come out of my mouth, right? To what level they're at, or the word choices based on literally what is in the room, who is in the room, what is the time of, like, it's wild, this shift that's happening for me. And so that's a boundary thing, right? Kind of in the unseen realms. And I'm seeing it more, I'm sensing it more, I'm having more discernment. That's Saturn, like discerning who's in the environment, what's in the environment, where am I called, what's the, self-mastery around this. So that's really what Saturn's all about. He's Gandalf, he's Mr. Miyagi, right? He's like the wizened sorcerer in his most benevolent form, who is giving you the tough karmic lessons so that you can grow into self-mastery to become like really and truly the embodiment of the unique genius and the highest expression of self that you came here to be. That's Saturn. So it's beautiful, it's good. Could lead to a really interesting weekend. It's much more intense this weekend because he's going retrograde. So he's stationing retrograde, which means he's moving very slowly. And the slower a planet is moving, the more they're drilling down. And so it will really be a lot of Saturn energy, and that can feel oppressive. It can feel depressing. It can feel limiting. It can feel like we're caged and we just want to fucking break out. Plus with the mind, that's Mercury, with the mind being in a square to Eris on Saturday, and also, sorry, I just want to make sure I get this right, a sextile to Uranus on Saturday. That's an interesting combination for the mind, right? So the mind is going to want to break out. That's Uranus. The mind is going to want to, like, creative chaos. That's Eris. So the mind is going to want to be doing that. Meanwhile, we might be feeling like we're in this, like, stuck stagnant sort of Saturnian structures and limits and red tape. You want to think like government and, all the red tape you have to get through in a big organization to try to get anything done. So that can be kind of the shadow side of Saturn, are those sorts of aspects. So it's interesting astrology. It'll loosen up, right? It's a long retrograde, so know that it'll loosen up. It's just pretty intense this weekend. Friday's a nice day though. So today, as I'm filming this, there's a beautiful aspect between Mars and Venus, your masculine and your feminine. You might want to just like lean into that today. If you can. I know for many of us, it's all overshadowed by Saturn. I mean, it's all just very, very Saturnian, very karmic, and it's not necessarily making much sense, probably because Mercury's doing what he's doing, and it's the very beginning of the retrograde. So a retrograde is a time of reflection, readjustment in those areas of life. So those areas of life that I spoke about, the boundaries, the manifesting, the spiritual realm, anything to do with Pisces. Anything to do with Pisces. And of course, you can look at your own personal chart. We actually have a masterclass on that, how to run a free birth chart and look at that. So if you've never done that, this will be worth it, is to see where in your chart Saturn's retrograding. So what house is Pisces in, right? This is where Saturn's going to be working in your personal area of life, right? So let's say it's the 7th house. That's Saturn rearranging relationships for you. That'll be interesting. So that could be really good to find out. Again, the masterclass is free. If you're interested in it, just type, maybe type astro. That works. Let's type astro below, and we'll get you a link to that free masterclass. I think it's like 60 minutes long, and it's how to run a free chart. Everything's free. How to run a free chart, how to look for this aspect. And just remember, what you want to look for is Saturn retrograding, right? Saturn in Pisces. You just look for Pisces, that area of life in your chart, what house that'll point to, kind of where this will be going on in your life. All right. I hope you all have the most amazing weekend. Yes, maybe it is just staying in bed, pulling the covers up over your head. It's okay that it's a little slow. It's okay that things feel stagnant, right? It's okay that you might just want to grab a journal. It is a time to pay attention though. But, if there is something that you do feel called to do, is to pay attention to what's coming up right now as he starts his retrograde journey. What's coming up? This is pointing to the themes that are coming during the next, what will it be, 4 or 5 months that he's retrograde. Interesting stuff. Okay, huge love to you all. I will see you soon.